Hey everybody, my name's Alex and welcome back to 801 Coffee Vlogs. If you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications, and drop a like on this video. Today I'm going to be showing you how to roast beans, so if you're interested in coffee or you're new to roasting, this is the video for you. So stay tuned and I'll show you everything you need to know in order to roast the perfect batch of beans and make the perfect cup of coffee every day. So here we go. So as I said in my first video, I own a local coffee company in Salt Lake City, Utah called 801 Coffee Roasters, and these are my vlogs. I've been doing it for about 2.5 years now, and now I'm starting to work on expanding the roasting side of it. So I roast my own beans. I roast beans for restaurants and coffee shops around Salt Lake City, and today I'm gonna teach you what I do to make the perfect bean for my customer. First things first, beans when you get them raw are green, and they're very dense, they're full of water. So what you're gonna do when you roast beans is you want to heat up the beans and introduce air to get all that water out of the bean during the roasting process. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So here I have 1 pound of coffee weighed out, and I'm going to take it out to my roaster, which at home when I roast, I just use this hot top roaster, which is a tabletop roaster, and I will link that in the description if anybody's interested in getting their own. This is one of the best on the market right now, and it's very, very simple to use. So first things first, I have these presets on my roaster. So adjustment 3 is light roast, adjustment 2 is dark roast, and adjustment 1 is medium roast. So I'm doing medium roast for a local pizza company right now, so I'm gonna click on that. And 411 is the max temperature, so that's when the beans will eject. This is just a timer. I always set it too high so it doesn't run out of time before the beans are done. And then I'm just gonna press OK again, and it'll start to cool. And as you can see, it's at 235 degrees. Usually once it gets below 330, you're good to put beans in because it will cool it all the way down to preheat temperature again. So, pop this off, put the funnel in here. And that's all there is to it. As you can see, once it gets down to 163, it starts to preheat again. And it'll always go past that because it's cooling down so rapidly. And then it'll reheat back to 167, and that is the preheating temperature. So once it hits 167, it'll start to actually roast the beans. And I'll show you what happens after that. So 167, it reaches preheating temperature and starts to beep. And then it will start the actual roasting process. And about every 100 degrees, I know this is hard to see because of the lighting, but about every 100 degrees from 180 to 200 and 280 to 300, you want to introduce air into the beans. And that helps dry out the water and kind of bring it out of them. So the beans are spinning in there. This thing is a giant cylinder basically, and it rotates, and then it has a heating bar over on this side that introduces heat, and then the air goes out the back, which is out of this fan right here. And I will show you all that. And then it's even got a little cooling tray, which a lot of home roasters don't have. Once the beans are fully roasted, it drops the beans into here, and this thing rotates and blows cool air up at it to cool it down as quickly as possible and really preserve the bean. So just for the sake of this video, this is the air bar and this is the heat bar. So how you get down to that is this third button, and that rotates between all of these. And then when you want to stop introducing air, you can turn that off, go down one, and turn the heat all the way back up again. And the reason for the decrease in heat is just so it gets more and more water out of the bean and cooks a little slower while you're introducing air. So now that it's reached 280, I'm gonna go down and introduce air again, just about halfway up, and then turn down the heat one more time. And depending on how you like your beans, you can always add more air or less heat, depending on just how it turns out and what beans you're using. Sometimes you need to add a little more air if they're more dense, or a little less air if they're less dense. And once it reaches 300, you can just turn off the air and turn the heat right back up. So the third part of the roasting process is a little bit different because instead of waiting until the 380, you're gonna wait only until 350 because the beans are almost done roasting. So I'm gonna show you that now. So it's reached 350, and now I'm gonna add my last bit of air in. So I'm gonna go down to the air, add 2 bars, so about 50% air, and then decrease the heat to 80%. And on this roaster, there's 10 bars, so you can tell exactly each one's 10%, and on air, there's 4, so each one's 25%. The difference with the end of the roast here is that instead of waiting for 20 degrees to turn it off again, you're just gonna keep turning the air up and the heat down every 10 degrees. So at 350, you turn the air to 50% and the heat to 80%. At 360, you're gonna turn the air up 1 more and turn the heat down 2 more. And then once it hits 370, you're gonna turn the air all the way up and the heat down to just 50%. And then you'll leave it there for the rest of the roast. Since I'm doing medium roast, I'm gonna wait until it hits about 411 degrees to eject. Light roast is around 184 for me. Just in this roaster, certain roasters roast differently, so once they reach 375, it will basically be done at light roast. A lot of people roast them hotter and for longer, so their light roast is more like my medium. This is so hard to film yourself. Because it's hard to focus on the right point of the camera. Okay, let's try this again. So coffee is a lot like popcorn. It cracks and expands when it reaches certain temperatures, and that's how you get the different roasts. So if you like light roast, you're gonna roast it to about 384 degrees. The first crack is around 375 when you notice the beans start to sound like popcorn popping in the machine, and that is the bean cracking and expanding into light roast. If you don't let the bean crack, it'll be too hard, and when you try to grind it, it will break your grinder. Medium roast for me is around 411 degrees. Most people do it from 400 to 420-ish. I like it right in the middle because I don't like too dark of a medium roast. And then right after that is dark roast, which is about 420 to 428. Light roast actually has the most caffeine out of any bean. Medium roast has the second, dark roast has the least, and decaf obviously still has some, but doesn't have a lot. But light you can pull the most flavors out of. It has the most caffeine and tastes the best. Dark roast is like a fire when you put it out the next day and the log is just burnt. That's what dark roast is. So that's why you get the smoky flavors, because it's basically setting the bean on fire. 411 for medium roast, so in just a minute it's gonna eject out of here and pour into this cooling tray. And that little fan rotates the beans so they cool evenly. So this will cool down for about 5 minutes. It's got about 4 minutes left. And the reason for that is it wants to cool it down as fast as possible to keep all the flavors and the oils inside the beans, so when you grind it, you have a great cup of coffee. So now that it's done roasting, I have all these presets in here. You can either store that preset or eject. That was a good roast, so I'm gonna store that. And then chaff. It reminds you every time, chaff is the silver skin on the bean that comes off when you roast it, and it all falls into this tray. Kind of nice, right? Collects it, so I put it in this dog bowl, and then pop that right back in there, and you're ready for the next roast. So like I said, there's a comparison between medium roast and light roast. So as you can tell, the light roast is a lot different in color. There's some dark ones and some light ones in here. This is just evenly dark all the way through. So medium roast and light roast aren't that different. Medium roast is just slightly darker. Light roast is really good for espresso and pour overs, and morning coffee if you just like getting jacked up in the morning. If you ever do bulletproof coffee, which is coffee and butter or coconut oil or whatever kind of oil you like to put in coffee, you use a light roast. And then medium roast is really good for drip, French press, and cold brew. I make cold brew like a giant pour over, but with cold water instead. And if you don't know what a pour over is, you can watch my very first video, which is all about pour overs. So go check that out, drop a like, and subscribe to the channel. If you haven't yet, you should have subscribed already. If you didn't, what are you even doing, bro? So this is my logo, 801 Coffee Roasters, and I self-stamp every one of my bags. I'm also doing a Christmas deal right now. So if you want to give a bag of coffee to a loved one for Christmas, DM me on Instagram or Facebook at 801 Coffee Roasters or on Twitter at 801 Coffee. Every bag is $12, which most of the time they're $20. So you're getting $8 off until Christmas. It's my Black Friday deal, and I will ship it anywhere in the country. Order now. I will be making more videos on roasting. I'll do light roast video and a dark roast video depending on what you guys like and what flavors you like to pull out of beans. So stay tuned for that. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already subscribed, and hit me up on Facebook and Instagram and follow those channels as well, because I'll be answering questions in the DMs, and I have really cool pictures on there, so check it out. Now I'm gonna head to deliver some beans, so come along with me. Let's go. Hey guys, so we're in the car now, and I'm heading to several places where I drop off beans, and taking you along with me. So the first place I just went was a place called Athena Coffee, which is a new coffee shop that just opened up in Sandy. So check that out if you get a chance. And now I'm headed to Nuch's Pizzeria, which is an amazing pizza place. Traditional Italian food, bruschetta, all that. Great wine list if you like wine. And it's just always local, and they support local, so support them. I got to run in here real quick, but I'll be right back. So she's doing great. Just stopped in. If you get the chance to stop by Nuch's, Rose is the owner, and she is the nicest lady ever, and has amazing pizza, so check it out. I took the dream catcher down, obviously, because it was bugging me. But now I'm headed downtown to a new place that I'm trying to get on board with my coffee called Good Mood Cafe. And regardless of if they choose to use my coffee or not, they do have amazing coffee already. They do all traditional Italian espresso drinks, traditional European style coffee. So they don't even have like drip coffee, black coffee, whatever you want to call it. They just do Americanos, short blacks, long blacks, flat whites, everything you would find in New Zealand or Australia. He's all about making people appreciate coffee for what it is instead of changing it and adding all these sugary syrups and stuff. He's really good at his craft and just a really cool, nice guy. So if you're in Salt Lake City on State Street, like 150 South, it's right there. So stop in, check him out. He's super cool, and hopefully I'll work with him soon. So I'm going in to meet with him right now. A lot of people have been asking me what I do to kind of improve my business or spread word or get new clients or anything like that. And mainly what I do now, what I'm doing right now is going around to different businesses, and I'll drop off like a half-pound sample or a pound sample, and if the owner or manager is there, I'll have a conversation with them to see what they're all about and kind of get to know them a little bit and tell them about my product. And luckily over the years I've become very personable just because I talk to a lot of people every day. So if you're nervous to talk to people as a business owner, don't be. Just try and try again until you get it down. It does take a while to kind of get comfortable with it, but once you're comfortable with it, I promise you your business will spread like wildfire, and people will really learn to shout you out on their own. And then word of mouth in Utah is a big thing. It's such a small city and there's so few people that it's really not that hard because everybody seems to know everybody somehow. In bigger cities, social media is huge. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, I mean, YouTube's getting bigger. In Utah, yeah, word of mouth is probably one of the biggest, to be honest. A lot of it's just who you know, the connections you have, and the connections you make. Yeah, just be yourself, honestly. The best piece of advice I was ever given was do what you love, no matter what, and the money will come with it. Which is I've never heard anything more true in my life, because a lot of the times, even when you're struggling doing what you love, you're still doing what you love. And that makes it worth it, because I feel like I don't ever work. I'm doing what I love every day. I work with coffee, I roast it, I make it, I serve people coffee, and it's an art, and it's what I love doing, and that makes it so much better for me. I never have a complaint about my job. It gets stressful, it gets hard, yeah, for sure at times, but overall, I mean, this is what I signed up for. I feel like if you're gonna do something, do it wholeheartedly and don't complain about it if something goes wrong. Just learn how to fix it and move on. I've met a lot of really cool people, and
it's just a cool place to live. Utah's great. Anyone from here can vouch for that, and anybody that's not from here that doesn't like it, it's usually because they're at home. Anyway, that's it for today's vlog. I'm gonna be busy delivering beans for the next little bit, and then I'm going to hang out with some people. So I hope you enjoyed the vlog. I hope you learned how to roast coffee, and I hope you try it on your own. I'd love to hear about your own experiences, so DM me on Instagram and Facebook at 801 Coffee Roasters and tell me all about it. Remember to subscribe to this channel and drop a like on this video, and turn on post notifications to be alerted about my next video. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.